you save it. So once you do these settings, now system will create the batch number during order creation itself. So when I'm trying to produce the create the order CO01, enter. Okay, so if you go to goods receipt, see the batch number has come automatically. So during the order creation itself it will come. Okay, so this is how you do it at order creation. Suppose now you want this during order release stage, you want to come batch number, you want to generate batch number automatically, then there you have to change automatically during the order change, order release. Okay, let me make some other settings. Somebody has changed the settings. Just give me 1 minute. Huh? What is our plant? Plant is 1000, right? Just 1 minute. Huh? Okay, so now I'll maintain now at the order release stage. Okay, so now if I go to again production scheduling profile, now that production scheduling profile, now what I will do is I'll maintain during order release. So if you go here, I'll maintain now during order release. Now initially it was there or during order creation. It was during order creation. Okay, it was during order creation. Now what I will do is I'll change this to order release, automatic batch creation at order release. So now I'm maintaining it as 2. Okay, now I'm saving this. Now when I'm creating the production order, now you see what will happen. I'm saving this order. Now I'm creating new order. One more order I'm creating, CO01. Okay, so when I'm creating it, see, during the creation stage the batch number is not coming. It will come during order release. So now I'm saving this order. Okay, this is order number. Now when I go to change mode and when I'm trying to release the order, that time the batch number will come. So I'm releasing the order. Now you see now the batch number has come. Okay, so this is how you set the batch number automatic during the creation or manuals or during the creation stage or during the release stage. That is how you set the batch number. So you have both options. Either you can create manually, or during the order creation or during the release you can do in automatic way. So both options are possible in the production planning module. Okay, so now creating batches, this we discussed already, either during release or during manual assignment, and you make the settings in the production scheduling profile. You make the settings in the, either you can put no automatic creation, or you can make the setting as automatic creation at order creation or during that order release. So these settings you make in the production scheduling profile, and this production scheduling profile will be assigned to the particular material. Okay, so this is how you create the batches in the production. Either manually you go and trigger, or without triggering, system only can create the batches during various stages as we discussed. Okay, so this is how you create the batches in the production order or process order. Now the batch numbering system. Either you can enter the batch number manually, which is called external numbering, or system only will assign the number, which is called internal number. Okay, every batch will be identified with a unique number. That number you can assign it externally or you can assign it internally. So internal means you will maintain some number range. From that, system only will be assigning the number. Okay, so this is the batch number. Now where you will define this number range? So this number range you will be defining in the configuration. So if you go to batch numbering again, if you go to logistics general again, batch management, okay, then you go to batch number assignment. Suppose if you want internal numbering, If you want internal numbering, then you have to activate internal batch number assignment. So if you click on that, it's already activated in this system. So if you go here, see, it's already active. Activate internal batch number assignment. That means system only will assign the batch number. If you want external numbering, then you have to make it inactive. Then you will be assigning the batch number as per predefined template kind of thing. Okay. So but here in the system, it's already activated internal numbering. So system only will assign the batch number. Now, from where the system will take the number range? Okay, when you are creating the batches, system is giving some number, right? 580. So from where this number range it will take? So it will take from the number range over here. Maintain internal batch number assignment range. So once you activate internal batch numbering, you have to maintain number range. So if you go here you will have the number range. See, this is the interval. This is the interval. This is the interval. Okay. So this is the interval you maintained. If you want, you can create your own internal numbering, and you will be maintaining for this object. You will be maintaining for this object. This is the object, batch underscore CLT. For this object, you will maintain the number range. Okay, you can create your own number range and you can assign it over here. Okay, so this is how you create the assign the batch number range in the system. Okay, so that's the batch numbering. Now we will see the batch master record. So what data you will be maintaining in the batches? So what data you will be maintaining in the batches? So if you go to a batch master record, let me save this. Let me save this first. Okay, so batch master record. If you go to /n MSC3N, if you go to the batch master record, display batch. So the data is maintained at these tabs. One is basic data. Here you maintain date of manufacturing, expiry, SLED, which we will be discussing in a minute. Okay, and then your next inspection date, which is used in quality management module. Okay, and if this material and batch are for raw materials, then you can maintain the vendor number and his vendor batch and on which date it is received. So those data you will be maintaining here. And in the basic data too, you will not maintain anything. Okay, and then classification, we'll discuss what is classification in a minute, and then material data, remaining shelf life, all those things, and then changes. This is a log. This is kind of a log when the batch is created, and after creation, when it is changed, what data has been changed, all those things are documented over here. This is a history log over here. Okay, so the most important things here is, if you go to batch change, what you need to understand is, in SAP, the maximum number of digits allowed for batch number is 10. Okay, here it is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So maximum number of all digits allowed in batch number is 10. You cannot maintain batch number more than 10 digits. Your interview question: what is the maximum number of digits allowed in batch number in SAP? It is 10. But if it is a vendor batch number, you can put 15 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Here 10. Again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the vendor batch number. See, vendor, when he is supplying, he will have his own batch number in his site. So that link you want, this is our batch number, our in-house batch number. This is the vendor batch number. So if you want to link, you will maintain the vendor batch number. But vendor batch number is allowed 15 digits. Okay. So this is how the maximum number of digits allowed for batch number is 10 digits. You cannot maintain more than 10 digits. Okay, so this is how. So we'll discuss date of manufacturing, SLED. Okay, next inspection, all these things we'll discuss. So this is the data maintained in the batch management, batch master record. Okay, batch master record. You will maintain the data at different tabs. Okay, we'll discuss all these things in detail. So now we'll move on to classification. So what is classification? Classification is used to describe or group objects together that have some likeness but also differences. Okay, so every batch, in our case, every batch will have unique properties. So those properties are identified with classification. Even though material is same, batches are different, and different batches will have different unique specifications, unique properties. So those you identify with using this classification object. So the classification uses characteristics. So characteristics is nothing but a property of a material, or a specification of a material, like length, width, weight, color. All those things are your properties. So what you do is you set up classification using this class type. So class type is your batch class type. Okay, so this class you create and you will be assigning to the material. So when you assign to the material, when you are creating the batches, the classification data will get copied to the batch. So what you do is you create a batch class, that you will assign in the material master. So when for this material, when you create the batches, that classification data will get copied to the batch. Those characteristics and everything which you maintain in the class, those will get copied to the batch. Okay, so this is how you set up classification. So we'll create that in the system. So this is how. First you create characteristics. Okay, first you create characteristics, then you create a class, then you assign these characteristics to the class. Okay, and finally you assign this class to the material. Okay, so you assign the characteristic to the class, and then this class you will assign to the material. Okay, so this is how you set up your classification in the system. So basically these characteristics are means property of a material, property like use viscosity, color, okay, other things. Okay, so those characteristics, see, every batch will have unique properties, unique pH, unique viscosity, unique potency. So those things you will maintain through these characteristics. Okay, so you create characteristics, then you create a class. So these characteristics now you assign to the class, and then finally this class will be assigned to the material. Okay, so we will see that in the system. So this is the one. So you create, classify, and in the material master you will assign the class, and when you create the batches, all the data will get copied to the batch batch master. Okay, so that is how you create the design the batch classification. So I'll create the characteristics now. So the transaction code to create characteristic is CT04. I'll remove this now. First is create characteristic. Okay, so the transaction code is CT04. Okay, I'll create two characteristics. /n CT04. Okay, I'm creating pH. pH underscore. Okay, I'm creating this one. Okay, yes. Okay, so this is a characteristic I'm creating, pH value. Okay, group you select batch group. Data type, what type of data it will have? It will have character format or date format, numeric format. So pH is a numeric format. Select the option numeric format. My number of character value will be 2. So enter the 2. Now then go to values. Okay, here the maintain the allowed values. So it is 1 to 40. My pH value should be 1 to 40. So this is how you create characteristics. So this is one characteristic I created. Okay, so this is a pH. Let me note down this. Okay, now the next one I will be creating color. I'll create one more characteristic, color. Okay, color. Enter. Okay, description. Now here my batch characteristic, and here my data type is character. That means I will be maintaining characteristics. Let me maintain two characteristics. Enter. Now my allowed values are this one. So 0, 1, 1. Sorry, it is 2. Wait. So now here 2. Sorry, 1. Okay. So let's say it is description is, let's say, black. Okay. Now 2, yellow or pale yellow or light yellow, dark yellow, let's say 3, pale yellow. So these are the values, allowed values for this color. Okay, these are the values allowed for this color. So you can create the characteristics like this. I'll create one more characteristic with called potency. Potency, you might have heard of word potency or assay. So both are same. I'm creating one more characteristic, potency. Okay, so here it's again a batch class group. Okay, data type is again numeric format. Okay, number of characters is 3, my decimal places is 1, and my unit of measure is percentage. So you can maintain the unit of measure over here. Okay, so my allowed values are 90.02, 110 percentage. Okay, just one minute. So it is 4. Okay, so that means total it will have 4 digits, out of which after decimal it will have 1 digit, and my unit of measure is percentage. So allowed values are 90 to 110. Just 1 minute. What happened? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is how your value is maintained. Okay, so this is the unit of measure also you can maintain for this characteristic. So these 3 characteristics I created in the system. Okay, potency, when I created potency, okay, and then I created one more is color, right? Color. These are the 3 characteristics I created. Okay, so these are the 3 properties I want to measure for each material in the batch, during the batches. Okay, so now you create a class. Now you create class, the transaction code is CL01. You create the class. Okay, so let me create the class CL01. Okay, so class is test underscore 7. So this is the class I'm creating. Okay, this is the class. Basically this class will contain the characteristic. It is the carrier of characteristic. So class type I'm using 023. So in standard SAP the batch class type is 23. It's standard SAP 023. So you will use this batch class type. So class type will tell you what type of class it is. So that you will be using 023. So enter. Okay, so description, you give the description test underscore 7. Okay, you give the description, enter, and then you go to characteristics. So here you will assign your characteristics. So the characteristics which I created are this one. So you assign them here. Okay, enter. So you will be assigning the characteristics over here. Okay, we are doing this one. We are now here. We created the characteristics. We created the class, and while creating the class, we are assigning the characteristics to the class. Okay, so it is done. Now finally you will assign this class to the material master in the classification view. So go to our material /n mm01 again. This is our new material. Enter. Okay, enter. So now no classification view. Somebody changed everything. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, so now if you go to material master, So this is our product. You activate the classification view. So you go to classification view. In the classification view, you will be assigning the class which we created. So what is the class we created? Test underscore 7. So this is a class created. So when you assign that class, see, system is taking the characteristics from the class and it will be showing over here. Now when you create the batches for these materials, you will be assigning the values, and when you check the values of that particular properties characteristics, you will be assigning the values over here. Okay, so this is how you activate the classification view in the material master. Okay, so this is the flow. You create characteristic, you create the class, and then you assign the characteristics to the class. Ultimately you will assign this class to the material master in the classification view with the class type batch. Okay, now whenever you create the batches, then you will assign the value. So this is how it works. This is how it works. See, this is the material, these are the characteristics and allowed values. When you create the batches, you will assign the values. For batch 1 it may have different values, batch 2 it may have different values, batch 3 it may have different values. So here if you go, I'll create a batch manually and I will show you. MSC1, enter, yes. So now when you go to classification view, see, now the class is showing, the characteristics are showing. So for this particular batch, when you check the pH, so let's say my value is 8. So you enter the value 8. Okay, 8. My color, let's say for this particular batch, my color is dark yellow. Enter value. My potency, when I check the potency of this particular batch, it is, let's say, 105%. So like this you maintain the values. These values are only unique to this particular batch. So you will save this. Okay, so if you create one more batch, you can maintain different values as per the properties you get while checking the material, while checking that particular batch, inspecting that batch. So those data you will be maintaining in the classification. Okay, so you will be maintaining the class. So different batches will have different unique specifications, unique values. Okay, so that is how. Now what are the types of characteristics are there in the system? Okay, so what are the types of characteristics we have? So we have 3 types of characteristics. Okay, so one is user defined ones, user defined characteristics. That means we will be creating our own characteristics. Normally you will start with Z. Okay, now the another one is reference characteristics. I'll show you this, what are the reference characteristics, and then the ones which are standard character, which comes with standard SAP. There are standard SAP provides some characteristics which comes with standard SAP. Those starts with LOBM. So if the characteristic starts with LOBM, means it is a standard characteristics. Now we can create our own characteristics, which I have shown you already with transaction CT04. You can create your own characteristic. Now the reference characteristics means here the value of the characteristics will get picked up automatically from the tables, and value. So here you no need to enter the value of the characteristic. That is called reference characteristics. Okay, I'll show you that. So if you create one more characteristic, suppose let's say I'll create one more characteristic, CT04. I'll create Z underscore manufacturing date, MFG underscore date. This is the characteristic I'm creating. Okay, so I'm creating this batch group, date format, enter. Now instead of entering the value over here, you go to additional data. Here you maintain table and field from where the data has to get picked up. Okay, you will maintain the date and field from where you will get the system has to pick up the data. So the table is MCH1, batch table, and the field is this one. So suppose if you go to the any batch, just let me go to one batch /n MSC3N. So if you go to this batch, date of manufacturing is maintained here. So suppose if you click on F1, it is maintained in one table. Okay, if you go to the technical information, it is maintained in the table MCH1. Okay, of course MCH8 is showing, and the field name is HSD8. Okay, so take the field name. Okay, so you maintain this one. Okay, so that means data will come from automatically, system will pick the data from this table and field. Okay, now we'll test this one. So I will take this characteristic. I'll take this characteristic. Now I will assign to this our class which we created previously. Okay, this is the class we created. I'll assign that new characteristic over there. Okay, I will assign it over here. Now I'm saving this. Okay, now when I create a new batch where this class is assigned, so when I create a new batch, suppose /n MSC2n or MSC1n, I'm creating a new batch for that particular material. Enter. Yes. Okay, so now classification, for the other values we will be maintaining it manually. We'll be maintaining manually, but the moment I maintain here date of manufacture, let's say I maintain here 01/01/2016. The moment I maintain, if you go to classification, see the value has come automatically. So here no need to enter the value, it will come automatically. This is called reference characteristic. Okay, it will pick the data from the place where you maintain the data. So here no need to enter for the user to enter the values again. Okay, so user defined value, which I have shown you already, where you will be entering the value manually. You go there and you will enter it, okay, as per the format. Okay, now there are standard characteristics which comes with standard SOP. Okay, so I'll show standard SAP. I'll show you that. So standard characteristics are like this. No, I'm not saving this. So if you see, if you go to /n CT04, if you see here characteristic. Okay, so suppose if you see, there are some characteristics which comes with standard SAP. They starts with LOBM. See, these are the characteristics which are already there in the SAP system. So always remember, standard SAP characteristics starts with LOBM. That LO means logistics, BM means batch management. Okay, so those comes with standard SAP. So if these characteristics are not meeting your requirement, if you need any other characteristics, then you will be creating that through CT04, which we already discussed. So these are the types of characteristics we have. Okay, so we have user defined, which we'll be creating on our own. There are reference characteristics where you fetch the value from the field and tables, and there is a standard characteristics are there. Okay, now the last one we'll be discussing is shelf life expiry date. So what is this shelf life expiry date? Batches for materials that may no longer be used or sold after a certain period are normally assigned with the expiry date. So normally any product or something, after some period you will not be using that. Okay, so that is maintained through this SLAD, shelf life expiration date. So this shelf life expiry date normally used in process industries like food, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, cosmetics and retail industries. Okay, the SLAD is set automatically during goods receipt if you maintain total shelf life in days for the material master. So in the material master, if you maintain SLAD, so when the batches are created, system automatically will create the shelf life expiry date. Okay, so the shelf life expiry date is maintained in the material master storage view. Okay, so if you maintain that, system only will calculate the expiration date for that particular batch. Okay, so I'll show you that in the system. Let us go /n mm02 again. You go, so you maintain that. If you go to general plan data storage one view, go to plan 1000. So here if you see, total shelf life is there. Total shelf life you maintain here 36, and what is this indicator, whether it is 36 is days, months, what is that? So that you maintain here. Period indicator for SLAD. So this 36 is nothing but months. I want to maintain in monthly format, so it is month. If you maintain days, let's say it is 365 days, You maintain 365 here, and then your period indicator you will maintain here it as days, day. Okay, so in that manner you can maintain, but I will maintain as 36 months. So that is total shelf life is 36 and my period indicator is here. Okay, and you need to maintain minimum remaining shelf life. This I maintain it as 12. That means when you are receiving the material, it will check what is the leftover expiry. It should be at least minimum 12 months. So that is the minimum remaining shelf life. Okay, enter and you save it. So now as it maintained, when we are creating the batches, MSC 1N, suppose let's say I'm creating a batch. Okay, now the moment I enter date of manufacture, system will calculate the expiry date. Suppose if I maintain manufacturing date as 01/01/2016, the moment I enter, system automatically will calculate the SLD, shelf life expiry date. In some industries they call it as BBD also. BBD means best before date. So enter. See, system has calculated the expiry date, 3 years. Why it has come 01/2019? Because we maintain 36 months, nothing but 3 years. So it has come automatically. So this is how you maintain shelf life expiry date in the system. Okay, so system automatically will calculate the expiry over there. Okay, so if you go to any medical shop or some pharmacy, when you buy some medicines or tablets or tonic syrups or something, what you see? You see batch number, manufacturing date and expiry date, right? So in SAP they maintain here. In the batches they maintain here. In the batch master record they maintain that one. Manufacturing date, expiry date. So from here it will get picked and it will print on that labels on that strips. Okay, so this is how you maintain the SLD, shelf life expiry date. You save it. Okay, so that's all. So that is how you maintain the shelf life expiry in the system. You maintain that in the general plan data storage one view. You maintain all the expiry related data. You maintain all the expiry related data in the general plan data storage one view. You maintain total shelf life and you maintain remaining shelf life. Okay, so when you do this shelf life expiry date is automatically calculated in the batch master record when you enter the manufacturing date. Okay, so this is all about your batch management.